The concern is that you're going to get invaded. If you do lane this Ezreal plus Rel into Varus plus Leona, it kind of depends on how the map goes early. Whoever gets in lane first can have push. I favor Ezreal pre-base. Varus needs a few levels before you start to push around the Ezreal, and Rel should be able to tank most. So I think that you have a couple options, whether you want to swap or play 2v2, or swap or play, even lanes. I think the big thing for me is that you just need to scale if you are ThunderTalk. JDG, all eyes for me are on Xun and them early because you are playing this Nidalee, you're playing the Poke Varus, you're playing the Renekton. All the tools are in your favor in the early game. We're going to have to see what JDG can do with it.
And I want to call back to something you talked about during the pre-show, that Xun and Missing have not always been able to sync up accordingly during the early game. Game 2 was a way for them to prove that they can, sync up and be a very strong early game force. Granted, the way that Game 2 played out against Weibo Gaming was not in their favor. Weibo actually had, the first 4 minutes on lock, and it wasn't until a little bit of a fumble, but a great capitalization by Missing to snipe light zigs, and already game 1 starting up here for ThunderTalk and JDG. JDG want to avoid any early mishaps like they did against Weibo Gaming with this same setup. And ThunderTalk are already bullying them out of the top side jungle, bringing 4, 5 members just to push Xun and Scout around.
Yeah, again, Renekton level 1 just not useful as a champion. So able to get in double Conqueror for the Corki and the Ezreal. You do have some options in terms of what keystones you run. Good wards, though, that JDG was able to get down before the full invade came out that are going to scout out TT. And Raafaa, are we going to start this best of 5 off with some action? We do have Missing and Peyz rotating over, and they've yet to be spotted by the wards that ThunderTalk dropped.
I think Xun is
Beichuan
pinched
spotted
on where he wants to start, because he wasn't able to aggressively get deep enough vision on any of the camps for Beichuan's blue side jungle. So this does force Xun to start on the bottom side with the red. He does have a chance to path towards the top side, and you can always play through Leona stuns to set up ganks. Even on someone like...
Yeah, I will say something kind of cute that was going on here from JDG. The Renekton waited the show bot, so there was split XP mid for the first few creeps. Hoya is going to miss out on the solo XP bot, so both solo laners are going to be behind XP. That said, the answer right now, Beichuan going for a rather aggressive invade. This is trouble.
He walked around the ward, so they knew that the vision was placed there, so this gives Xun a little bit of an opportunity to force Beichuan off with Missing.
Rel with red buff.
Oh, yeah, Feather's got to be careful.
Yeah.
If this spear connects, he could be in trouble. I think he took Pounce as the second ability. Yes, he did. So there's a little bit of threat there, but ThunderTalk just walk away. And the fact that 1xN was able to get the shove in on Peyz does mean that they can't push further into the topside jungle. But this does rectify Xun's early game path, where he's able to safely take his full topside jungle, whereas Beichuan has to retreat into his own jungle.
Yeah, this is fine. We're just going to have Nidalee matching the Lilia clear too, which I think is good, because as long as Lilia is on one of the sides, I think you want to play into it as Nidalee early. And the early game here, JDG got most of what they wanted. They have Renekton with an XP advantage already in that matchup going into the Ambessa. Renekton will win that matchup early on, especially pre-6, because a lot of Ambessa's power is put in that passive of her ultimate. You got to put points into that to get a lot of the bonus power that you just get from using Ambessa abilities and autoing, right? Early on, Renekton with the shield break and just the raw strength of Renekton can push around this Ambessa. So it does look like we're going to have Xun path into Hoya and Ale, which I think is the right setup for JDG. Any 2v2 that is found here would have to be a big misplay from JDG for ThunderTalk to win this.
Yeah, the only saving grace for ThunderTalk at the moment is that SeTab has push against Scout. So if Xun gets too deep into Beichuan's jungle, he should have this Corki being able to collapse first over the Azir. So far, Xun just taking the crab, not going for the deep invade, and challenging Beichuan on any of his bot side camps. It's going to be a full clear, and, unfortunately, Cubby, not any action, at least for the next 30 seconds.
Okay, it's been some interesting posturing going on early on, at least.
Sure.
As it will be Xun a little bit ahead in terms of the clear for Nidalee, and he's actually wrapping around. Maybe he's going to look for the secondary crab. There are pings going onto it from JDG right now. We did have Scout TP back early. I will say if SeTab has the potential here to walk back and maybe be able to save that TP for the Grubs so that any damage dealt to Azir would stick in the next couple of minutes.
Oh, I'm missing is wrapping around right on top. Lands the stun. There's the Zenith Blade, but Beichuan flashes out before the spear could connect.
Necessary flash from Beichuan, but that's going to be the target for the Grub fight coming up for JDG. As we have resets coming in, both bot lanes will make their way back to the top lane. That really is the global meta that we have right now. Grubs, first Grubs especially, they just kind of decided that that's the stronger objective. So teams are rotating their bot lanes up to make sure that they can contest that with a numbers advantage. So will be the case here for JDG. Hoya gonna regret that trade, that call to make, gonna make sure that Ale wins that one for himself. Curiously enough, TT with the flash gone for Beichuan. They've actually moved their bot lane bot. Looks like they're just gonna opt to give this. So I will say, with playoffs coming around, I am happy to see teams dropping a few objectives. I think that this is actually smart from ThunderTalk to not fight the Grubs. If they fought Grubs with no flash on Lilia, you're kind of signing up for being at a pretty significant disadvantage.
Yeah. And then you're opening up the window for the snowball team to actually snowball on your face, and then that's not a good sign for ThunderTalk. This does open up a possibility to take Dragon, because now they're going to have the 2v1 into the pushing bot side, so they should have prio, and since Corki is still winning against Scouts Azir, should be fine. Meanwhile, though, Hoya might just get dove into tower here. The wave is stacking. Missing should be able to lead the charge here. Hoya is not level 6, so not many room for
He's close.
Outplay. He's still got a flash. Tries to flash the Q, but the stun lands. There's the damage. Isn't enough, though. Turd is ramping up. Shun is going to take a lot of damage after that one, but Hoya is still surviving, and he's clearing the minion wave. Gets level 6. Public execution. Tries to stall as long as he can on this topside dive. The spear, he sidesteps it with a quick Q, and ThunderTalk's top laner outplays the 1v3.
Great read coming out from Hoya again. Looking at that XP bar, he was close to 6, and that W, that's a big shield. He was able to survive the dive. While this has been going on, Beichuan hasn't been able to take the dragon, an objective. He's just been power farming, and Ale hasn't been pushed out of the bot side either. So it's not like JDG is losing out on the map from that play, but they did lose a lot of tempo with the failure to dive Hoya. And Hoya surviving was able to soak a lot of experience. So yes, Hoya's down, but a disaster avoided, quite frankly, with Hoya trying to live through that one. Meanwhile, JDG, good on them to rotate their bot lane to now match the bot lane of ThunderTalk. That actually puts contesting this dragon in the cards for them.
We're going to see what ThunderTalk decide to do concerning this dragon setup. Missing Stops Feather's base here. Shun has not had a chance to recall after the topside dive. He cleared the Grubs. Took a couple camps on the top side. Now looks like he's still pathing towards the bot side. Scout is going to get a base in. Doesn't have teleport if they want to join for this dragon setup, but everyone is still trying to posture for it. And Shun, is he okay? Yep. They're just bullying them outside of this river at the moment.
I do appreciate, though, the respect that we're seeing from ThunderTalk. Again, their comp scale's really hard. If they get to the double Miramana spike, and they're on relatively even footing, I really do favor them as this game goes on. Again, the onus is on JDG to make the plays early with the composition that they have. And yes, they have a lead. They have the first 3 Grubs, but they haven't been broken by this Renekton Italy. And if you aren't able to break it, the power of this combo and the chance that JDG has, they're going to go down as this game goes on. So I think ThunderTalk actually being really respectful and playing this early game out well, even though they haven't really made any plays, they're avoiding disaster, and that's a win.
And for ThunderTalk, I mean, this is a team that was able to upset BLG of all opponents, which is why a lot of us on the LPL English broadcast, not the guy that I'm casting with, has ThunderTalk favored in this matchup because, you know, if they were able to take down BLG, then what's JDG? Of course, I think, you know, Cubby is right in that BLG was very disrespectful in their series against ThunderTalk. But the way that ThunderTalk are playing is quite the opposite. And they're just going to show that they're very patient and they're very understanding of their win conditions. And if they were able to break JDG's momentum with one of their most consistent draft combinations in game 1, then what does the momentum, the morale of the series look like after?
No, I think that's a good point. And that's something that I gave ThunderTalk a lot of credit for, even going into the BLG series. Here I was sitting at the caster desk like, you know what? It's going to be a gentleman's sweep. It's going to be a 3-1 BLG, and everyone else kind of felt that way. Because I felt like ThunderTalk, their play, yes, they were beating bad teams in Group C. I mean, EDG and LNG were not good teams in this tournament, right? But the way they were doing it, they were playing decent fundamental league. They understood, you know, hey, let's take Ornn and let's sack him. He's going to be useful later on. It's not like ThunderTalk were playing bad league. In fact, they were getting a lot of those wins by just fundamentally playing better than their opponents. And to see that against JDG here, again, nothing special has happened so far, but that's exactly what TT wants in this draft. So I will give them credit early on. I think that so far, scoreboard looking like this, it's not bad at all for them.
Yeah. They can keep the game even and buy time for all of these spikes to come in on this 3-man core, the Lilia, Corki, and the Ezreal. Whew, and you're in a good spot for the mid game and going even further into the late game. A teleport? Oh no, not a teleport. That was the swirling seed. What? The particles look the same, dude.
I mean, I can't blame. I haven't actually, heard anyone confuse that yet, but I really can't blame you for that one, Raafaa.
I was looking at the map and I saw the small, slow-moving orb, and I was like, oh, someone's TPing top. And
I do want to pause real quick because I feel like the first point of contention we might have is second Grubs, which are spawning in 25.
Sure.
Giving away 6 Grubs is expensive. And the way that things are sitting right now, it does not look like ThunderTalk are going to be able to contest this. 1xN already at half health, thanks to the work that Peyz is putting into the mid lane. And Beichuan's been forced out of his topside jungle. They have Corki actually going to catch top, and they're sending Ambessa bot. I think this is easily going to be a 6 grub for JDG. If I'm ThunderTalk and Beichuan, maybe I'm looking to steal 1 if I'm lucky. Because this is where the game can really ramp and get out of control. The magic thing for ThunderTalk, I think 2 items plus. 2 items, if it's... They're at 2 items and it's even. I think that's where the game starts to be even, and then they get ahead afterwards. Again, until then, very heavily JDG favored. And ThunderTalk, sacking 6 grubs, this is beyond respectful. We have not seen a lot of teams do this. A lot of teams would rather flip the grubs and feel like, they lose the game if they don't.
Ooh, nice patience from SeTab, but he's got to deal with Missing, who just flashed over the wall to lock him down for this kill. First blood for Peyz, and a teleport is coming in for Hoya. Public execution will dash through Missing, and I think he used the flash as well. I'm not sure if it's updating on the scoreboard, but Hoya manages to escape that one as well.
Yeah, just the public execution for Hoya. Missing did flash to make the play onto SeTab, but well worth it. They'll take the kill and wrap up those 6 grubs. No response from Beichuan. Gonna go try and look to the bot side jungle of Xun. No Raptors to take, and 6 grubs for JDG. These towers going to start falling, and that gold is going to start stacking up. So again, I thought ThunderTalk was doing a decent job up until that point. A lot of teams have refused to sack 6 grubs. They'd rather fight and flip and feel like they have a better chance than actually give away 6 grubs and end from there. And man, going up against an Azir with a Nashor's Tooth can really punish 6 grubs as we get a replay. SeTab, really good flash. He waits on the R and then react flashes it. That's the one way that you can get around Azir R. If you flash too early, you can just scoop you right back in. TP from Hoya. Unfortunately, a little bit late, so wasn't able to help out. As a nice collapse from JDG to pick up a kill on the Corki to get the party started. And I guess check 1 box towards Feats.
Yeah. I think for JDG, the thing that they started to recognize is that ThunderTalk are playing so patient, they're playing so defensive, that JDG just have to invest a lot more resources in order to break the game open. Now, has the game been broken open? No, not quite yet. 6 grubs is very powerful to have, but JDG needs to actually use this advantage and try to find ways where they can continuously get small picks. They don't need to go for like huge fights. Hang on, 1xN, force to cleanse, Chain of Corruptions, does tag Feather, and the Solar Flare connects as well, but might not be enough damage as he dodges the spear. Takes a little bit of damage from Peyz, but not enough to take him down.
Again, that's okay. No significant sums burned outside the cleanse for 1xN, but that's a cleanse on an Ezreal. Could be worse in terms of what you lose. I think the big thing is that both these outer turrets are about to fall. You got 1 plate or 2 plates left on that bot turret, and that's a Azir with Nashor's Tooth and 6 grubs. And for me, Scout, when he was playing on LNG, that team was really the one that actually started pioneering the strategy of getting 6 grubs, utilizing Nashor's Azir, and really attacking those side lane turrets. I give Scout actually a lot of credit for this pick and this strategy in particular, really getting this in the global meta. And I love the way that JDG is playing this because they're collapsing into SeTab. That plate's going to fall. That tower's almost gone. And this is a lot of pressure going towards a Corki that's now half health and no flash. So love how JDG is moving their pressure around the map. TT is under a lot of pressure and are likely going to have to drop this turret, which is a box check towards Feats.
Yep, this is exactly what JDG need to do. Even though that it does remove their support from other lanes where Peyz is sitting, he has Poke Varus. It gives him the power to try and clear the wave and just step back when he needs to. And now, once Xun and Missing are linked up on the map, this is where you can really try and break open the game if ThunderTalk are a little too far forward. As what happened there? Did he get the blue on the way out?
Yeah, Feather was trying to find the engage, and Xun was able to pounce away from it. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, tool burned from Feather, but hey, the Hex Flash still on Rel. You know, sometimes that one can be stronger than the actual one.
You know, a gut instinct in my brain was saying, you know, just press R. Put Peyz to sleep. But
you can hear it in my voice too, Raafaa. I thought for a second that we might see that, but not the case. Instead, it's going to be Dragon traded for top outer. The top outer was likely to fall anyway, but still JDG picking up more money in their pockets. 2.5K gold lead does feel really nice at this point of the game. And a lot of that is on this Renekton, which, again, it's going to take time to actually move the Renekton if you're ThunderTalk. The 2-item plus bar is moving closer to 3 items just because JDG is going to be ahead. The fact they have more gold at this point. So TT going to have to start fighting to even just secure their own jungle camps at this point. And JDG, so far it's been a decent snowball from them. They've been doing a nice job this game.
Yeah, it hasn't been the most explosive snowball where they're just getting kills left, right. But what JDG are doing is they're calculating on which champions are overextended or which champions they can effectively dive, and then taking that summoner advantage or kill advantage and then taking out the turrets, and then they are slowly able to encroach the vision line further and further into the recesses of ThunderTalk's jungle, and then that's when it gets very difficult for ThunderTalk to play the game, even a defensive one like they've been for the past 16 minutes.
Yeah, if you're able to get in the jungle of ThunderTalk and start denying camps away from the Lilia, that's where it's going to really hurt, because Lilia needs economy to be effective as a champion.
Yep.
As another thing that helps, removing turrets. Rift Herald secured. That's 6 Grub Rift Herald for JDG. Gotta imagine it's going to be thrown mid immediately as Missing is looking to sync up with the team. Gets caught out.
Just gotta be careful, because on the left side, the JDG
Hoya.
reinforcements arrive, and Hoya gets scooped up. The public execution doesn't even matter, because he dies before it happens. The Rift Herald's gonna be popped. Not going to even need it for this tier 1 in the mid lane. They're going to pilot and crash it into the tier 2. And Matt, I think this is where the game is starting to finally break open for JDG and ThunderTalk. It's up to them. Do they want to try to flip the game now, or do they still want to be defensive and hold on until these item spikes come alive? It's very difficult to try and contest JDG at the moment, but SeTab is going to go in onto Missing. Beichuan flashing over. Q flashed into the ulti. Missing goes to sleep, and 1xF puts him out. And the rest of JDG are forced to retreat.
Still, 2 turrets taken. The kill on the back half doesn't feel great, but it is JDG in control of this game, and I like the idea from ThunderTalk to catch Missing on the rotation. You know that Rift Herald's going down, right? We're talking about it here on the desk, but an overstay and a late public execution from Hoya, who got locked up before he get that ult off, was taking another look. I like the idea, right? You know that they're on Rift Herald. You can get free damage off on the Leona. It's just that the E from 1xN really took him out of range, doing significant damage to Missing. And then Hoya got locked up before he could use that public execution. I think he needs to buffer the Shurima shuffle with that just to get it off and make sure that he isn't 100% locked up. Because it was a really nice play by Scout and Peyz to have that Emperor's Divide lead to the Chain of Corruption. Make sure the Ambassa couldn't go crazy with the Bay Boys in the fight. She got taken down, and JDG manages to find 2 turrets after that play.
Yeah, and now the map is further and further in JDG's control, and just in time, as we are a couple minutes away from not only the 3rd dragon of the game, but also the Otacon spawning, will be on the top side of the map this time around. And with JDG having taken out both turrets in the mid lane, and a turret on the top, threatening to take that 2nd tier turret on the top side as well, it's going to be even more difficult for ThunderTalk to try and reestablish vision control so they can safely challenge the Otacon.
I will say, like, the strength of Otacon's kind of their friend, because it's really tough to take a 20-minute Otacon if you don't have a numbers advantage. Like,
sure,
the shred, especially when that thing spawns, it's pretty significant. So maybe the time able to be bought there. And Dragon spawning sunk up with that timer as well on the bot side. Maybe if, you're going to be crazy, JDG tries to take Otacon while Dragon's being taken by ThunderTalk. But if I'm JDG, I think it's a good time to stop the Dragon stacking here. And you can see, I think that's where their focus is. Yeah, Shun and Scout doing a nice job of clearing some vision and getting pushed in the bot side. And the commitment to play 3 lanes has been really nice for JDG too, just taking advantage of how self-sufficient the Renekton and Azir can be in the side lanes. And neither of those picks have been really pushed, and 6 Grubs are getting work done as TT just continues to bleed out.
Yeah. Ala in a 1v2 against Beichuan and Hoya.
He's got 2 levels.
He gets put to sleep. Beichuan trying to do as much damage as he can, but Ala is quite durable in this Renekton. Scout joins the fight. The public execution, not quite used yet. I think he dodged it. He must have missed it on the Scout because I didn't see any of the knock-up animation go through. JDG able to bail out the top laner.
Yeah, I think he fired it backwards instead of forwards, and it was a sidestep under that got him around that one. Not the best R coming out from Hoya. As again, I don't mind the attempt, but you could see with how strong the Renekton is. Hoya was sitting at level 14, had 2 levels on Hoya and 3 on Beichuan, and you stack into Renekton like that. Does this champ scale the hardest in the game? No, but I love to say Renekton scales off of how many melee champs are in the game. So if you're going to play into him like that, you get more mileage out of the E, the Q, and even the R. And yeah, we see them get forced away from topside, and JDG going to set their sights on denying the Dragon next, which thanks to some tools being down after that failed play, is going to be quite easy.
Yeah, I mean, ThunderTalk, both of their Triforce Muramana carries have reached their 2-item spikes. But the thing that I really like that Peyz went for this game, he didn't actually go for the Muramana as a second item. He went for Yumu's into the Edge of Night. Extra defensibility, but also just kind of on more demand damage and not waiting for the stacking to finish yet. Hang on, Feather. Might look for missing. Knows that there's no flash available on this Leona. Uses the Zenith Blade to give himself a little bit more distance. And it's enough to actually escape the clutches of ThunderTalk.
Nothing really cooking on the map now unless you want to have a hard commit for the Otacon. But now, that's the first, I think the first camp I've really seen, or the first rotation of camps I've seen where Beichuan's gotten denied by the Nidalee. And that is a big deal, again, is if Lilia gets denied Econ, this champ's really, really falls off when she's not ahead and being able to push the pace of the game. As I mean, Lilia is pretty much, she's bringing damage and that big engage to the table, right? That's where you want Lilia to be.
Yeah. At some point, if you're behind an economy, then all you can really hope for is just finding a massive flash engage.
Yeah.
Because you really don't have enough durability to last so long to get multiple procs of Q or W and really ramp up the damage. You're just trying to set up for the rest of your team. And that might just be the case if JDG are going to force an objective in the next couple of minutes, since it looks like Beichuan is still behind in gold to pick up that second item, whereas SeTab and 1xN, right now, they're your best chances of really pumping the damage needed to take down JDG in a fight.
Yeah, again, 2 items achieved, but they're so far behind that it still isn't enough to be ahead or start winning these team fights. It's going to require a little bit more. But this is the point where I do like TT scaling from here on out. It's just that this moment is also going to be really hard, and with the game that lacks this much blood, these are the games where no matter where they end up finding Otacon and what version spawns when, you like to see the GA one. And I really like what JDG is doing here, just making it really difficult to even walk into that Tri-Brush. As Peyz and Shun on the poke Varus and poke Nidalee, respectively, doing really nice work against the front line of TT, forcing them all back, making this Otacon look better and better.
Ooh, missing with the Solar Flare. Connects onto SeTab, tries to Valkyrie away. Chain of Corruptions. Tags SeTab, forced to flash. And ThunderTalk barely escaping with their lives, but it did come at the cost of a couple summoner spells there. Peyz is still wrapping around, trying to threaten the backline with another piercing arrow. Missing, lands it up onto Feather, and despite the Magna Storm, no one from JDG is even threatened. They're down a couple members now, or I should say just one for Feather. ThunderTalk have a chance to reset and get their HP bars back to full, but JDG doing what they can to push them.
That was That was a great ult from Peyz. It got the flash from SeTab, and on the scoreboard, it's a 1-for-0, but look at all the flashes that ThunderTalk burned. And that might be part of why JDG is forcing this Otacon, because if they did come to fight, there would be no flashes in TT. They're just going for Peyz.
I mean, he lands the public execution and Peyz just pops the cleanse, but here comes Alla with the teleport. SeTab also joins the fray as well. 1v2, the Croc is going to pop the Corki before 1xN can burn him down, and Alla on the Renekton is just busting heads. ThunderTalk are falling to the wayside. He doesn't even die. Alla, the Croc master. Alla showing him what's up.
That was a great guess there, going over the wall, following 1xN, managed to pick up all the kills. As the Croc, you called it too big at this point of the game, and ThunderTalk not wanting to contest the Otacon, they look elsewhere. JDG punishes, and now this game's truly gotten out of control. Otacon secured, and it was so late, they might be able to use the respawn to look for Baron as Beichuan.
Does find the kill on the Alla and takes out his GA from the Otacon, but Alla, you did your work, bro. You got your kills, you got yours, and ThunderTalk, what seemingly was a very slow deficit for the past 25 minutes, it has now exploded. We've finally seen the snowball come to full fruition, and it all starts by trying to punish Peyz in between these two towers.
Beichuan wasn't able to follow this one up, so I don't think it's warranted from Hoya. And then all the way from here, deletes the waves so they can't get the turret, and then knows that SeTab is no flash, so signs up for that one. That's nice and easy. Also knows that he's got the Otacon in his back pocket here in a sec. Guessed the E from Ezreal. Great E from Ale to follow that one up. And then Rel, no damage in that kit. The Croc keeps on stacking up the Fury thanks to the ult, thanks to everything that was going down. Very clean from Ale, and that's going to mean this game, again, getting further and further out of control.
I mean, an 8,000 gold lead with the composition that JDG have assembled. Yes, ThunderTalk, there's still, you know, potentially. I don't even feel right saying potentially. It's like there's technically still a small chance, but I feel like it's less ThunderTalk. How should I say? It's less in their control.
We need oopsies.
Yeah. JDG have to mess up essentially at this point in order for ThunderTalk to come back.
Missing has to go missing. If this one's gonna. And a few other things needs to happen if we're going to have ThunderTalk in this game. But, yeah, honestly, it was a nice slow burn from JDG. They played the map out well. ThunderTalk was very respectful, if anything, a little bit too respectful. And this is sometimes the issue with scaling comps. If you do take a lot of scaling, you just never get in the game. And JDG, using their strength, played that really well. I mean, look at Ale. 3-level lead over the Ambessa and a 2-level lead on SeTab. Pretty much 3 levels on everyone in the game. I don't care what champion you are. If you're Renekton or anyone else, you're up this big, this point of the game, you're going to be really, really tough to deal with. So, TT, again, need to keep on keeping on the back foot.
I had a slight chuckle with myself as one of our producers, Kelsey, the Kelsey Moser, just piped in and chimed my JDG 3-0 prediction looking hot already. it's still a best of 5 for any ThunderTalk fans. Don't fret. They still got a long series to play out, but this game 1 is definitely looking the way of JDG's claim as the Baron is secured, and the rest of JDG are now looking for the engage. Solar Flare into the chain of corruptions. Hoya is locked down. Not a lot of damage follow-up as the piercing arrow. Dealing a lot there. The Ignite sticking him and forcing him to reset here. Alla already popped the Dominus, was red. Whoa, he just flashed on a 1xN, but he popped the cleanse. Gets the Arcane Shift. Missing. Hang on. Goes down. ThunderTalk. They're making the defense happen. And the rest of JDG, they're going to have to give ground.
Still, like, that's worth losing your support for, frankly. If we're going to burn Flash on Lilia and the R and we only lose support, that's okay for JDG. I think that's why JDG is still playing up. They got the heals from Nidalee, the poke from Peyz. They can still pressure ThunderTalk in this formation. Feather, though, they haven't seen him dip down with Beichuan. ThunderTalk might look to re-engage. Here comes.
Oh, Feather, Flash, Magnustorm, looking for Shun. He pounces right on the 1xN, uses the pounce reset to try and get away. Is it enough? Pops the stasis. Here comes Scout. Finds SeTab. The true shot barrage from 1xN. Finds Shun to the back line, but is it going to be enough? He's below 30% HP, and Scout is ripping the rest of ThunderTalk apart. Hoya is forced to retreat. The rest of ThunderTalk survive for now. Don't know if JDG are going to try and pursue for the base end. Scout is looking for Hoya on this top side, and he's poking him out. And it looks like he's got enough mobility. Meanwhile, the rest of JDG pushing in through the base. The inhibitor tower falls. The inhibitor falls. ThunderTalk should be strong enough to hold for now, but a Chain of Corruption's flash finds one extended. Peyz reminds him who's the better AD carry as he puts him into the dirt. Scout buying as much time as he can so that Hoya can't retreat and that no one gets to defend the base of ThunderTalk. JDG strike first, take game 1 of the series.
What a sick combo from Peyz to end the game. The R flash securing that onto 1xN's Ezreal and the execute on the Fed poke Varus. Well played from JDG, and again, ThunderTalk just never got into that game. The only 2 objectives they got were the Dragons. They went uncontested while JDG was picking up everything else they wanted on the map. Those 6 Grubs on the top side, again, not fighting the second spawn of Grubs. I feel like TT really signed up for the slow burn loss, and JDG put that one really well. You have Renekton, you have Azir, self-sufficient side lanes, committed to the 1-3-1. No way for ThunderTalk to break that with the Nidalee up in their face the entire time, and ThunderTalk never got into this game.
And I think what's so impressive is that the snowball was so methodical, and it was so slowly played out from JDG. I normally get nervous watching a Nidalee composition not immediately get off and explode to the races like within the first 10-15 minutes of the game, right? But the fact that JDG didn't let that bother them, they just slowly started taking the wins where they could get them. And even though ThunderTalk were very defensive and very patient and saying, okay, you know what, we're not going to take any chances, we'll just give them whatever they have, then it was on JDG to say, okay, we need to really pick a window to really break their backs. And they found them one by one until eventually ThunderTalk could no longer endure the onslaught.
Yeah, I think, if anything, going back on that draft, I would change the Hoya ban for Varus. Because when you have poke Varus, his ability to just delete the waves mid and then go help Nidalee with whatever invade or just to pepper or pressure any turret, I think it created way too much pressure for ThunderTalk to deal with. And they were already showing a lot of things where, you know, poke Varus into Corki, Ezreal, Lilia, the ability to pick burst those champions that are going to have lifesteal later on in the game in their kit. It just creates a power window that's so good early for the first 20 minutes, and the way that JDG used it was really strong. So they played their comp out well, but again, I just don't see the agency or the options for agency in the early game from ThunderTalk with that draft. And JDG, the way they played it, just never were able to get in the game on the flip side, and that was really good. Again, this JDG team, whenever we see them play, I feel like we see them getting incrementally better. And I want to see now if throughout the series, we did spend so much time, rightfully so, talking about ThunderTalk, who I think are the big stories sitting in top 4, just given how big of a surprise it is. But I think JDG is another story where this is a super team. It's a super roster that came together, and we haven't seen what we wanted out of them so far, but they are getting better. And this series, I think that the test for them is consistency. They, you know, OMG, 5 games against OMG is not what you want as JDG. That feels pretty bad. 5 games against Weibo, that was an insane series. It was very competitive. I think that was a lot of fun, and Weibo's a great team. But JDG, this is a team where you should be putting away ThunderTalk 3-0 if you want to actually take this super team, you know, tag and run with it and do damage in the league. I feel like that's really, you know, where JDG's head should be at going into the series. And yeah, this did look like a team where it was pretty impossible to play into them and pretty impossible to shut them down. It was really strong performance from JDG in this one.
Yeah, it almost makes you question, you know, did ThunderTalk give away too much, or was the draft, did it not have enough pieces in the composition to give them any early agency leeway? Because it seemed like the only lane that was effectively pushing was SeTab on the Corki, but because a lot of these carries are spiking at 2 items and prefer to just keep the game even, there's a point where, you know, this might be a little too revisionist just looking at how the game played out, but the fact that ThunderTalk were giving away so many resources to JDG, and then JDG eventually just started breaking all the turrets and giving them less and less space for them to play out with. I'm curious how that affects, you know, the draft going forward. Obviously, this is Fearless, so JDG will not have, you know, the Nidalee Leona Renekton combo again. They're not going to have Varus either, but, you know, if they go for similar compositions where ThunderTalk prefers scaling versus aggressive snowball from JDG, how does ThunderTalk avoid, you know, this same scenario again?
Yeah, I think the draft was, again, I think Varus is just really game warping.
Sure.
But they could have taken Varus on 4 themselves if they wanted to, but I don't think Varus into like Nid, Renekton, Leona. That's not the best angle, so that's why I'm kind of down with banning it. Again, I think that the Lilia on 3, I can understand it. It's not terrible, but you just need more frontline. And I think the unwillingness to flex Ambessa for me is where things got interesting. I don't... Like, SeTab, we've seen him be really big on the melees. We haven't seen him pilot the Ambessa yet. I'm going to double-check that one. Yeah, we haven't seen him pilot the Ambessa yet. But I think that the refusal to flex that is where things got a little bit awkward, because if they were able to put that one mid, maybe take, like, an Orin Kasate or Jax top for Hoya. Orin's the only champs out of those that he's played. And play defense that way, maybe things can get a little bit better. Because the Ezreal Corki can't move Renekton. So you are just kind of taking all that scaling for... Like, for what, right? If you can't end up moving the pick.
Sure.
So, yeah, Renekton ended up being really, really, really big that game.
Okay. Well, JDG fans, they've got big smiles on their faces, seeing the super team that was promised to them early on, you know, not drop a game or not drop game 1 to ThunderTalk. At least being able to get revenge for Demacia Cup and the best of 1 that knocked them out early in the tournament. And this game 1, I mean, who else were you going to give it to? I mean, that Renekton play, the 1v3 in the mid lane, that was pure cinema.
Yeah, ended up actually taking the ability haste, not the attack speed rune. That's really the only choice that you have on Renekton. That, or if you want to demolish your overgrowth, lane swaps, just demolish. But yeah, that could have been big in making sure that he won this play, which is one of the few highly interactive plays from the game. That I mean, this is very clean. He dunked on this play. The gas on 1xn. Also, if you're a Renekton player at home, weaving in the autos before you cast those abilities, you can cancel the back half of the animation. That's the big thing. So, yeah, watching that one, very clean from Ale. Gets my decent Renekton, you know, stamp of approval from there. Which I'm a decent Croc player, you know. It's not bad. It's one of the champs we played in High Diamond, you know, way back in the day.
Sure. Well,
I'm really reaching for stuff when we bring up our own gameplay
Yeah.
here, we start moving to the next game.
That's right. Well, before we go to break, just want to remind everyone at home that we're extremely grateful to our Coffee and YouTube subscribers and helping level up the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast and put a huge bulk of it pays on our talent and content creators. So please continue subscribing to our Coffee, linked in the chat, to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews, which, big note, our on-site interviewer, Patty, is actually there for playoffs. So big shout outs to Patty, the GOAT, the legend. Thank you so much. And this helps her out as well as helps level up the entire broadcast. When we come back from break, game 2 will be on your screen.